What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called, I'm looking at the nutrition facts, not stocking the shelves. There have been a few times when people have stopped me to ask if I work there, but I've always just been able to say, no, sorry, and that's always the end of it. But today, that wasn't the case at all. This is one of those ordeals that never actually happens in the real world, or so I thought. This is what actually happens when things get out of hand. Till here at the end, this is definitely a long one, but hopefully worth your time. So a bit of background about me. I'm a bodybuilder, power lifter, and nutrition is very important to what I do. Whenever I go shopping, I like to check the nutrition labels on ingredients and foods I'm interested in. That way I can eat enough food to not be hungry without sacrificing flavor and still fitting into my daily calorie intake. As you can imagine, I will check multiple different versions of the same ingredients in an aisle and put them back as I search for the best option. Well, earlier today, I went on a pretty big restock for the house. I also found a bunch of new recipes that I want to try, some of which called for some ingredients I don't work with often. For the most part, the store wasn't too busy and nobody really bothered me as I walked up and down each aisle. I also had some earbuds in and my phone out with my shopping list on. Keep in mind, I'm also wearing a tank top and sweatpants, which you're probably not going to get away with working as a grocery store employee. As I'm looking through spices in the baking aisle, I hear someone yelling over my music. It was kind of surprising since I listened to it pretty loud, so I took an earbud out and looked around. And this lady just said to me, "Can't believe they let employees wear those stupid things." I cut her off and said, "I wouldn't know because I don't work here." This seemed to upset her greatly as she got really aggressive when she responded by saying, "Don't frickin' lie to me. I've seen you stalking the shelves. I'm a paying customer and you need to help me right now." I'm a very easygoing guy, but when a random stranger speaks to me like this, I'm not gonna put up with it. So I said, "I don't have to do crap, especially if you talk to me like that. Get lost." She lost something, that's for sure. She yelled, "Excuse me? How the dare you?" I just turned to walk away at that point. All of a sudden, she grabs the back of my tank top and I yank myself away, saying, "What the hell, lady? Don't touch me!" She takes a couple steps back, probably realizing that I am not the kind of person you want to pick a fight with. "Fine then, I'm finding a manager. Say goodbye to your job, you lazy, useless piece of poop." I was already putting my earbud back in, so I just said, "Whatever, lady, bye." I grabbed my spices as she walked off in a huff and continued my shopping. I wasn't even wearing what employees at this store wear. Like, how could I possibly be mistaken for an employee? Seriously, I cannot stress enough how much I don't look like I work there. A couple of minutes later, I'm in the next aisle over and I see her again with the manager. I don't hear what she's saying because I've got my music on, but with the way she was pointing her finger, I'd imagine she was probably saying that I'm the one who didn't help her. They started walking up and I took both earbuds out this time. Manager approaches me and I hear the lady saying, "He should be fired for cussing at me and threatening me." Manager is like, "Yeah, he doesn't work here. He's wearing a tank top. That's definitely against dress code. Well, anywhere." She didn't like that answer. Then why is he stalking your shelves?" I chime in and say, "I'm comparing calories in foods and picking the best ones to stay healthy. Maybe you should try it sometime. You definitely look like you need it." She stands there for a moment with this expression on her face that looked like her brain didn't process what I just said. Then she got surprisingly calm. It was kind of pathetic at that point. At least I thought so. But the manager actually seemed to side with her and said, "Still, I can't have anyone assaulting people in my store." Whoa, what? I must have missed the part where she said I assaulted her, so I asked him to repeat himself, and he explains that it is a criminal offense to assault someone and that the police could get involved. Later lady goes from pissed off to real smug, like I'm about to get it. Good, I said. Call them down here. I'll wait. I know this store has security cameras on every aisle, and I am so sick of people like her getting away with this level of entitlement that I really did wait. Police show up a few more minutes later. We go to a back office in the store, and they're really grilling me, asking me why I would attack someone, if I was on any drugs, etc. I'm kinda used to this treatment. People take one look at me and just assume I'm some meathead bodybuilder with roid rage. I answer all their questions by saying, look at the security footage. It'll answer all your questions. The more I said it, the more frustrated they got. This dude sounds like Angela. Oh, I'm tired of people making fun of my petite frame. I'm joking, bro. Finally, they leave the room. I just wait there patiently for about 45 minutes, then they come back and apologize. The manager told us you assaulted her. We should have checked the footage, but you do fit the profile. I then say, why? Because I have bigger muscles than most people? Is that a crime? They know they can't really say or do much about it since they made some pretty big assumptions. I got some pretty big assumptions. If you'd like, you could press charges against her since she did grab you according to the security footage. And you know what? I said that I would like to press charges. Normally, I don't like to waste my time dealing with courts, but hours of my day were already wasted today, and I want her to know that she can't get away with it. A few minutes later, the manager offers to let me just go home with my groceries for free, probably a bit scared that I might sue the store for discrimination or something since I was so ready to press charges on the lady. On my way out, I saw them putting her into the back of a police car, and she was screaming profanities at the officers. I've already talked to an attorney who is in the process of obtaining the security footage. Court date is gonna be in March, but should be pretty straightforward since the evidence is in my favor. I've never actually had to press charges like this before, so I have no idea what to expect. All I know is that even if she ends up only getting fined $1 or has to do even a minute of community service, I'll have a smile on my face. Anyway, that's been my crazy day. I know there are similar stories here of crazy Karens and stuff, and I always thought they were entertaining and would sometimes even think about what I do in a similar situation. My reaction certainly wasn't what I thought it would be though, and it wasn't as entertaining being on the receiving end of the story. At least I got some free groceries out of it though. Edit, I want to clarify how the process behind pressing charges is going to work. The court date I got is really just more of a screening where I'll answer some questions and find out what happens next. That's also why it's happening all the way in March. And due to the pandemic, they are trying to cut down on in-person interactions, so this will all happen over video conference call. My attorney friend got back to me a couple hours after I posted this and explained that this will mostly be hands off on my part, and I won't have to worry about court costs, legal fees, or hiring him to represent me. Ah, my man! I hope that clarifies things, as I myself didn't really understand what the paperwork I got yesterday meant. Some other people in the comments explain things in more detail as well, so please read into that if you're interested, and thanks to all of you who explained how it works, because the police sure didn't do a very good job of that. Hey man, if you want to learn about law, so personally I recommend maybe going to like law school. I heard Harvard's pretty good. Maybe Princeton or like Cornell if they've got like a law program. I've heard those are pretty good schools. Or personally, I went an alternative route than the traditional lawyer. See, for instance, I'm a practitioner and expert in bird law, and for that reason, my schooling, my education was at the hands of Legal Eagle on YouTube. Some may argue one's effectiveness over the other, but I have yet to lose a case, so take that how you will. Anyway, this is a really pretty cool story. I really wanted this guy to Hulk out and just roid rage like how every muscular person does. That's what he's telling me, right? That's what the story was talking about. How like he had to suppress his inner desire to like smash this absolutely defenseless woman because like he has big muscles, so like it makes him like incredibly aggressive and mean. Not at all easygoing. Oh my god. The funny thing is there are people who think I'm being serious, and you know what? I am. Muscular people are mean. OP, I'm sure you're a bully. Mythical ace. More like mythical asshole. It's a joke, OP. You're a sweetheart. I'm sure you're a beefcake with the heart of jelly, and we're good friends, okay? Mwah! Alright, this story's called Karen Pulls a Knife on Me in a Toy Store. My sister is a U.S. Marshal and was with me. And what? Offered emotional support? Because it just says she was with me. Says she has a knife.
It's okay. I'm a U.S. Marshal and I'm with you.
Thanks. That's my hypothesis. This story dates back a bit to when I was about 6 weeks shy of 21. For reference, my family is a bit scattered age-wise. I have 2 older half-sisters, same father, different mother, who are Anne, 12, and Betty, who does not appear in the story due to being halfway across the planet, 10 years older than me, and 2 younger half-brothers, same mother, different father, who are Ed, 7, and Chuck, 11 years younger than me. At the time, I lived on my own as my parents had both passed away and I had gotten a subsidized apartment. Note, I still have the subsidy. I'm on my 3rd apartment since this story. Massachusetts is expensive. Massachusetts is expensive. That's so hard to say. Massachusetts is expensive to live in, and there is no way in hell a retail worker can afford to live alone here without some form of assistance. So Chuckaroni's 10th birthday was coming up, and Anne was in town visiting her mom, Lucy. Anne is a U.S. Marshal who was working out of San Francisco at the time. She offered to take me out to the nearby toy store to shop for a present for Chuck after I got off of work at the time unsafely confined to New England holiday-themed bargain store. My store's dress code for us peons, at least at the time, was pretty much whatever was not offensive for a shirt, pants, or shorts, closed-toed shoes, and a green apron / smock with the store logo on. So at the blessed time of 4 p.m., Anne picks me up, we go over to Toy Store, and we split up. Me going for the video games to get a Game Boy game I knew my brother would want, my sister going over to the bikes as his old one had been destroyed by an idiot bus driver, thankfully while my brother was not on it. Ed was also with us, as Anne had picked him up at the rink near his high school after he had finished hockey practice, and he came along with me. After locating the game, getting the employee there, Natalie, who I was dating at the time, to get it out of the locked case for me and I pay, I start chatting with Natalie and asking about our upcoming date night. After a few minutes, another customer comes over. Ed and I start to walk to the front, and as we pass the display of Xboxes, of which Ed had just gotten one for Christmas, and I had one as well, and we were both early adopters of Xbox Live. What a gamer. I hear the mating call of the wild Karen. Mating call? What are you implying? Excuse me? I ignore this as I'm not wearing the uniform of any store. I'd left my apron in Anne's rental car and keep walking.
Aren't you going to help me, you fat love?
I'm a large guy, 6'1", and at the time around 300 pounds. I've battled with depression since my mother died when I was 11 and 8 months after Chuck was born. Screw drunk drivers. And I have a habit of eating to cope. My weight and depression, along with my my poor eyesight, conspired to keep me out of the Coast Guard when I tried to enlist on September 12, 2001. I don't work here.
Of course you do. I see you here all the time talking with that thing by the Nintendos.
Note, Natalie is trans and was in the process of transitioning at the time. She wasn't very passable at the time. Ma'am, that's my girlfriend.
Oh, so you're a bundle of sticks bun for fuel too. And where are you taking this boy?
Pointing to my brother, Ed. That's my brother? I sense this is starting to get ugly, so I turn to Ed and quietly but firmly say, "Go find Amy, now!" Ed literally runs. He knows that when I get quiet, crap has hit the fan. Munolic Hulk mode stage 1 has arrived. Munolic? What is that from? Karen starts walking towards me menacingly, and I start backing up, not realizing she is backing me into a corner.
Gay people are kid diddlers,
And
all trans people should be executed publicly.
and similar. I finally realize I'm literally backed into a corner with this crazy Karen in front of me, and I have no escape. Munolic Hulk mode stage 2 kicks in. Leave me the hell alone! That's when it happens. I see the knife in her hand. I still have the box cutter from work in my pocket, but it will do nothing in this case except to maybe scratch this crazy bimbo. Munolic Hulk mode stage 3 imminent. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. But then, the next thing, everyone in the store, maybe even several people in the parking lot hears,
Federal agent, drop the weapon.
3 things happen in the next second. Karen and I turn to see Anne pointing her gun at Karen. Anne? I knew I should have said Anne. That was my first thing, but I was like, Amy's 2 syllables, so like more easy to say, ironically. Karen drops the knife on the floor and Karen's bladder evacuates, leaving a bright yellow puddle on the floor. Natalie and Ed appear on the scene, followed shortly after by the store manager and the loss prevention officer. Before I could fully process what had just happened, Karen is in handcuffs and has resumed screaming all sorts of vile homophobic and transphobic crap, and Anne is asking me if I am alright. I just collapse as the adrenaline stops, smacking my head on the shelf. I woke up 10 minutes later to a paramedic taking my vitals, Natalie, Ed, and Anne looking at me with worried looks on their faces, and the absence of banshee-like rantings from Karen. Aftermath. I wound up spending the night in the hospital. I had a concussion, a hairline skull fracture, and a nasty cut from hitting the shelf. Still live alone, but I've dealt with some of my depression issues to the point I can now work full-time. Ed is now a major in the Air National Guard and has a lovely wife and 5-year-old triplets. Chuck is an FBI agent, and he and his boyfriend just announced their engagement. Anne is still with the Marshal Service, mostly handling administrative tasks these days. Betty is still the quietest of the family. Betty? Did I guess that one right? Or did that ever come up? I don't remember. My memory is so bad. Natalie and I split up a year later. We're still friends, and she is now married with 3 adopted kids and is managing a big blue electronics store. Karen is still in prison. She was initially sentenced to 2 years in prison, plus 5 years of probation, attempted assault with a dangerous weapon, plus hate crime enhancements, but apparently got into a fight that nearly killed another inmate, so she ended up getting another 15 to 25 added to her sentence, and was recently denied parole for the 2nd time. Edit! Changed initials to fake names, was very tired when I originally posted. I also got a letter from the doc today, or DOC, Department of Corrections, today, January 12th. Karen died of Brovid while serving her sentence. Yo! That is trippy! Ooh, that creeps me out, man. That just makes me feel weird. I gotta watch High School Musical or something now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.